Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dude and dudettes. I am Matt Burns, and with me once again, he is back. He is none other.
Hi.
He is none other than JB John Below.
Hello, everyone. I am back.
Good to have you back.
Yeah.
As in regards to the reason behind it, I take it you had a interesting day last week.
I
Hopefully.
did. It was very
Relaxing.
thought-provoking, relaxing, interesting, all of those things.
Yeah.
I like to think I am a better person because of it.
Yeah, and in case if anybody was wondering what we're referring to, we are of course are referring to the fact that it was John Blow wasn't on last week due to taking a mental health day off.
Yeah, essentially combination of just everything that was happening in the regular day job, everything else just. It was a case of I just needed to mentally declutter a bit. It has been successful, so...
Yes, so we are back.
That's what we need to focus on. We are back, and oh boy.
Yeah.
Right, let's get the good news out of the way first.
Actually,
Happy Father's Day, everyone.
Yeah, it is Happy Father's Day, everyone. So if you are spending time with your family, with your father, Happy Father's Day. And even though I still stay, we are saying that regardless of it, it doesn't just stand to actual fathers. This also includes stepfathers, people who step in, and anyone who you consider to be a father figure as such,
Yeah.
or as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone who you could call a father figure who, yeah, like you said, stepfathers, basically, if they come under that category...
Or you feel that they do.
Yeah, then today is the day to,
celebrate.
Buy them a meal, buy them a drink, spend some time with them, do anything else that is relevant and shows them how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Before we continue on to what we're going to be discussing, Below, would you care to do the audio disclaimer?
Oh, good Lord, yes, okay. The following program... Oh, this is especially bloody apt today, isn't it? The following show may contain storylines, reference points, and stories not suitable for those of a sensitive disposition. May also contain strong language. Sorry, carry on.
And news, of course, because regardless of it, because this isn't when Blow was stating storylines. Some of the things that we are going to be discussing aren't exactly storylines.
Oh yeah, I meant storylines in the sense of the stuff you see on TV.
Yes,
but also that includes the real world. Right? Okay. Take two. Let's try again.
Take two.
The following show may contain themes and elements which may not be suitable to more sensitive viewers. These include, but are not limited to, the topics that we talk about and the potentially strong language that we use. This program may also contain strobe lighting effects.
And my colleague was referring to the certain listeners he is referring to are younger listeners who this may be unsuitable for, and anyone who may find some of the topics that we do discuss a little bit difficult to listen to. However, the discussion does need to happen.
Yes.
Now, before we get on to the main, the main and only
main
topic.
Subject this week, the only topic, the main topic, the one that you can't avoid.
We are going to state that the offer in regards to Black Lives Matter that we pointed out. So if anybody is massively being affected by this, we still, if certain people want to have their voices heard through our
absolutely,
platform,
yeah.
that option is always available,
Yeah.
and will continue to be.
Because it's not a thing that's just like, oh, it's quite a handy catchphrase this weekend. Red's gone away again now. No, not even
No.
close. It's an ongoing thing, and we realise that, and we appreciate that, and we just, we shouldn't have to remind people, but we feel we do.
Yeah, we're just stating it because to this day we still stand with, and support
by the sentiment. Yeah, absolutely.
Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Because we did state we would be mentioning it at the very least at least once every week.
Yeah.
And we mean that until there is
there's no longer any need for it to be said.
Yeah.
Which I get the feeling is going to be for a while yet, sadly.
Yeah.
We're getting there, but not quickly enough.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, speaking of getting there, but not quickly enough.
Yeah.
Jesus. Where do we even start with this? Right. I believe you have a statement.
Right. I do, but I'll get onto it shortly.
Okay, yeah. I suppose we need some build up first.
We do need some build up, and this is a heavy topic that we've got to discuss this week because it is something that is going to have a lot of controversial, can have a lot of can have a lot of different siding points depending on who this may affect. However, this is in regards to something that started out on Twitter.
But has spread across
all social media.
All of social media. Yeah.
And it is not, it's a movement. And when we say it's a movement, we are not talking, it started out from one place. It is spread across. It's across the globe. It's almost globe affecting. And in case
it pretty much affects the rest of the industry across the globe. Yeah, there's nothing. There is no corner that it doesn't seep into.
And in case if anybody wants us to stop beating around the bush, we are referring to the movement that is simply known as #SpeakingOut.
Yes. Since it broke earlier in the week, the overwhelming sentiment for me, at least, I don't speak for Matt Burns here, this is just me, is, well, thank heavens it's out in the open. Shame it couldn't have happened sooner, but now that it has, great. Everyone involved, do better.
Anyone who's been the direct cause of it should it's unless found to be engaging in some of the.
Shall we just say?
How do we say?
Shall we just say less than whiter than white activities, which have been alleged?
And some of it could be alleged. Some of it can be actually proven potentially. Yes. However, in regards to it, we have to state, in regards to it, for all those who have brought this to our attention, the ones who have been brave enough to step out.
Everyone who have stepped up and spoken out, yes.
I've been, we do follow, I'm just going to say we do fully support the Speaking Out movement. I am now going to read a statement that was released from UKWA, which, if many of you do know, I am the owner. I am one of the, I'm
the principal owner and CEO, if you want to use the Vince McMahon phrase.
If you want to use a Vince McMahon phrase. And this is a post that was released yesterday from the UKWA, and it is one that I 100% state as well. So regardless of me stating this, this is what UKWA put out, and this is my view on it. UK Wrestling Alliance is proudly to fully support and back the Speaking Out movement. We would also like to commend the bravery to all the people who have been brave enough to step forward to speak out and to have their stories heard. As a professional wrestling promotion, UKWA has a duty of care to help protect workers, staff, and fans of all ages from any form of abuse or sexual harassment. It has no place in British wrestling or anywhere in this world. Any persons found to be engaging in any serious criminal activities, as mentioned above, will not be tolerated in any shape or form and will be reported immediately to the relevant authorities and will be blacklisted and receive a lifetime ban from all future UKWA events. And then it goes on to state, we would like to say thank you for taking the time to read this, and we hope that you are staying safe. We look forward to seeing you at the next event. #speaking out. Now, in case anyone's wondering, you're hiding behind the UKWA brand, which it's not. This is also my opinion on this. Mine.
And I would just like to say that having agreed with every word, you might as well say it's also the Burning Truth's opinion.
Pretty much.
You can basically change the UKWA logo for the Burning Truth one, and word for word, you can put it out again.
And then change it from professional wrestling promotion to broadcast.
Yeah, essentially, it is just common sense approach.
Just change some of the wording potentially. It's just very, very difficult to describe. However, as more and more are coming out, it is going on social media. This is where I'm going to have to make an additional statement to just state it is vital. I understand that getting out to the public and making everyone aware of it is massively good and making us all aware of it.
Yeah.
However, and trust me when I say this is not me disrespecting anything. You'll see why I'm saying however now. Please, instead of putting it out on social media, please report it to your local, to the relevant authorities. To simply put, the reason being, I believe that some of the people who have been standing up, some of them like Leanne, I believe it's Leanne Marie, Miss Lucy Openshaw, as such, I've all requested to use either a link or report it to your local police authorities, or to approach your local police authorities to make them aware of this as soon as possible. Because while putting it out online, it is doing some good and making everyone aware of it. If there is cases being built to some of these cases and some of these, how do we say, serious criminal activities that are involved.
Yeah, essentially,
some of these stories.
I think, what you're trying to say is if there is anything criminal that needs to be reported, then do it. Speaking out on social media is the first step, but go one step further, because if the people involved need criminal prosecution, then for goodness sake,
report it to the police.
Report it to the police. Let them get what is coming to them.
But on the same flip side, if you are reporting it to the police, please refrain from. I'm not saying don't make it public if it's making you better. The reason being, if you are reporting it to the police and then it gets put out to the public, that can actually have some serious effects on any ongoing cases.
Absolutely.
That is being built around it.
Yeah. What you have to bear in mind is pretty much similar to what we have to bear in mind doing this broadcast, which is why we are talking about the seriousness of the situation, but singularly failing to mention any specific names or cases of people who may have been accused or what they may have been accused of. It's because speak out by all means and say that you've been affected, but keep the details of who and why for the police investigation rather than keeping that to the public, just like we're having to not say anything about anyone because, as Matt Burns alluded to, it could hamper the chances of the person being successfully prosecuted, if that is the case that they need to be. And we don't want that. Having gone as far enough to be brave, admit that it's happened and speak out, we don't want you to then undermine your own case and potentially have the accused not be able to be prosecuted because of social media, which is a possibility.
Correct. It is. But at the same time, also with this, at the same time, it needs to be investigated, not just because of that. There's the other reason, another two reasons why. One of them being if someone is being falsely accused.
Well, unfortunately, that is a possibility. As much as we don't really want to focus on that side of it right now, it's always a possibility.
There is the possibility because there is some potential of mistakes that can occur due to misdirection, miswording and everything. We're not stating that is the case at all, but at the same time of that, it's also in regards to it to sort of be cautious of slander as well.
Absolutely. So you don't want to go accusing people who have actually done nothing by throwing names out there without proof, or having, even I'd go so far as to say, having the situation where somebody is perhaps named by association, because that can be just as dangerous as actually getting the person who is genuinely responsible brought to book.
Yes, and with that, at this moment in time, for this week, we are not going to be mentioning anyone who has been accused of anything.
No.
If we are going to in future be bringing anything of anyone who's been accused, we will only be mentioning names on three grounds. Which the three grounds are: if they directly address this themselves, the accused, it is addressed by any police authority, or if someone from the accused wrestling promotion that they work for releases statements in regards to it.
Yes, and even then, unless someone has actually been prosecuted,
which is where number 2 comes into play.
Yeah, then, like I say, no names will be mentioned here. However, in spite of that, that doesn't mean we're not taking it as seriously as everyone else is and should. And so, if you have a situation where you want to speak out, we can only encourage you in the strongest possible terms, whilst at the same time, as we just said, being careful not to give out too much information which may undermine your case. For goodness sake, speak out. If you feel you can't do that, don't do it on social media, just go to the police. At
this moment in time, what we're going to say, instead of speaking out on social media, we're not saying don't speak out at all.
No, we're simply saying focus your concentration on where it will have the most positive effect and with the least possible effect of, possibly undermining your own case or accidentally dragging people who may not be involved into a situation that they don't want to be any part of.
True, but at the same time, we're not saying don't speak out. Far from it. If you want to make others aware of it, do make it aware of it, as in, if you need to message people indirectly. We're not saying, in regards to social media, we're not saying don't speak out. Far from it. What we are saying, if you need to speak out, if necessary, if you need to have someone to just listen to you, please do so.
There are plenty of people
We are
who
saying
have reacted to the speaking out movement and publicly, or those like us who haven't, but who have said nothing but sympathy for anyone involved, and you can always find a sympathetic ear here.
definitely.
We'd like to include the Burning Truth in that.
Definitely 100%, and this is where we're going to be saying if anybody does need to reach out and wants to speak out but is finding it difficult to, you can either message us on our social on our social media. You can send us an email if necessary, which is be it at info@theburningtruthuk.com. You can either send us a message through social media as such, whatever you need to do to speak to us just directly if necessary, to just have your voice heard. And so, and if you need any us to just to be listening, for us to try to help advise, and we're not just saying that just for us either. We are referring to that to, if necessary, send messages to to Leanne Marie, to Miss Lucy Openshaw, and many of the others who have been very, very vocal in regards to the hashtag speaking out. And I have got to give 2 additional names on this list for people who have been critical in this hashtag speaking out, aside from Miss Lucy Openshaw and Leanne Marie as well, and that would be none other than Dan Maloney.
Yep.
And the bruiserweight Pete Dunne. Yeah.
I believe I read a statement of his that was some... I think I'm paraphrasing here, so apologies if I don't get this quite right, but he hopes that this doesn't put people off British wrestling because there are plenty of good people, and he hopes that the whole product as a whole isn't irreversibly tarnished, and that the speaking out movement has the desired effect, which is those who need to be are rooted out, and the rest can get on with doing what they do best.
It's a very, very difficult time at this moment in time.
Indeed.
Especially for wrestling. And
yes.
The scary thing about this is the fact that a lot of people are sitting there thinking, even though we just mentioned British wrestling, this is not just hitting British wrestling.
This is worldwide. This is every company, potentially all across the world.
Yeah, with companies who are being affected are... just to name 2 of them, or 3 of them actually, Impact Wrestling, AEW, and WWE, who have all released statements.
It goes all the way to the top. There is no corner of the wrestling world that this doesn't affect. So the only downside to saying that is that potentially means this whole situation is going to get worse before it gets better. In that, I mean, more people are going to come forward, and potentially more people on the other side are going to be accused. But the upshot of that will be, hopefully, that those who speak out are rewarded with the outcome that they need, which is that
a safe working environment
provides them with a safe working environment, and anyone who is incapable of doing that is separated from the scene.
Yes, and as such, the odd thing about it is, and this is me as a wrestling promoter myself, I'm going to state 1 or 2 things that definitely, that one of them I think partially could help reduce this, if necessary, and the other one is something that definitely needs to be damn well implemented.
Okay, I think I know what these might be, but I'm not going to steal your thunder. I'm just going to let you get on and say it.
The first one being there should be some form of some sort of gathering, a council as such, where certain things can be checked, verified, and certain rules and regulations for this, to basically keep this nature out.
Basically, yeah, an independent group of people to whom the wrestling industry is responsible, who this can be reported to at the earliest available opportunity, in an attempt to stop it before it starts.
Or well, not necessarily like that. Basically, it's basically some some sort of council.
Yeah, not a governing body as such, but yeah, like
no. Actually, no. A potential, possible governing body, if necessary.
Somewhere where people who feel affected can go.
No, that's
in confidence.
I'll explain that one. That will be you're mixing the two.
Okay.
You're mixing the two. I'll get to that one.
Okay.
Shortly. Now, with that, the first one, we need some sort of governing body, be it even if it's multiple wrestling companies gathering together. But the odd thing about it is, as much as we can have all companies together, this might be something that needs to be, instead of it just being, it might be something wrestling can't resolve it by itself within it. We may have to bring somebody in from outside to look into it, to find out and sort of put some guidance and steps in, certain rules and regulations, be it either security checks, and potentially one of the second thing I'm about to mention, which is a must, which is creating safe spaces.
Absolutely.
Now, as I believe my colleague was getting a bit confused with the two things that were being implemented. I was going to suggest almost, because they are sort of, they almost go hand in hand, because one of them can sort of lead to the other. Regardless of it, the second one, which is the one I'm discussing, which is the safe space, does need to happen regardless.
Yes.
There should be a situation where a safe space is provided, be it either for the organisation where it is one set up for it, or even if you, or if necessary, bring somebody in who is outside of the wrestling business to come in and sort of be a safe space, a safe environment for someone to report, and potentially if it's something that isn't towards a promoter, it can be potentially reported to a promoter so they can get rid of that situation and clean it up and basically have it done with, or if and possibly have it reported to the relevant authorities, or if it does, but at the same time still have it as a safe space. So even if it is a promoter, it can be still stated where certain, where it can be still taken to the relevant authorities, and if it needs to be not even mentioned to the to the promoter who is in in direct conflict of it, then that would be the best way forward. Yeah. Personally, a safe environment needs to be provided while also having steps so it can also be reported to the relevant authorities as quickly as possible.
Couldn't agree more.
So, with that being said, that's going to be it. It's as much as it sounds like we're ending this short. That is going to be all we are going to be able to discuss this week.
Yeah, because it's such a heavy topic, we'll go back to our usual, more irreverent old man shouting at clouds sort of way of looking at things. And we'll talk about everything that we would have talked about this week, Backlash, amongst other things.
Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, we'll do all of that next week. I think that's pretty much a wrap for this week.
Yeah, it is. But before we get on to the plugs, which I will state will be heavily reduced for this week,
yeah,
I am just going to state this. If you do want to, if anyone who isn't aware of the situation and want to be aware of the situation, please look up #speaking out across all the social medias.
Absolutely.
Believe me when I say this, it is a very serious situation, and it is something that if you are not educated in, you're not made aware of, please do so as much as possible. And as much as we have stated that, this may be unsuitable for younger listeners as such, this is something that will. This is a topic that shouldn't be just quieted.
Oh, absolutely.
The talks need to keep going. The discussion needs to be made out. But
Yeah,
just to point out, in regards to this, if there is a situation, if you want us to have an ear open for you, we've always got our inboxes open for you. If you ever want to just have an ear to listen to, we are available. Either ourselves, friends, family, fellow colleagues. If you want to have a voice heard, do speak out. But please understand if putting it out on social media does help others to come forward, then yes, that is a positive movement in a massive, massive way. But at the same time, please do so. 100% report it to the relevant authorities as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And with that, the Burning Truth wholeheartedly does massively fully support and back the speaking out movement, and we are proud of it to do so. And that we are 100% massively commend the bravery to all the people, to
everyone who has spoken out. Yeah.
Who has spoken out and told their stories.
And to everyone in the coming days and weeks who maybe hasn't yet, but has seen the outpouring of positive and reassuring thoughts for those who already have, and maybe is going to add their story. We're equally supportive of you if you haven't done it yet.
Even if you haven't done it yet and you can't yet, don't force yourself.
Absolutely. While you may add your story, that's great. Tell it in your own time, however. Don't feel that just because this movement is here now, it's forcing you. If you're not ready, you're not ready.
Tell it when you need to.
Yeah.
And as such, at the same time, this is going to mix into a bit of mental health as well. So we've got plenty to discuss in regards to that, which as we normally do. But instead of putting the mental health at the end of the episode, I feel as though we need to bring it up now. Which is, it is understandable to, you have every right to be not okay. But it is okay to be not okay. But when we say that, we don't mean that, it's okay that you feel, but, we're not saying that, that's fine. What we are saying is, if you are feeling, not great, that's fine. But if you need help, do seek it.
Absolutely.
And on top of that, we understand the pressures that is basically building up around so much that is going on. And also, asking for help isn't a weakness at all. Believe me, in this case, you will find out that you most likely are more loved. And believe me when I say this, some of the people who have been reaching out have been finding this out very dramatically and quickly, that they are more cared for than they ever even realised.
Yep.
And there is, as we stated, I'm going to hold off on one of the usual quotes that we normally have, which was from Tom Campbell. Usually that will return next week, but for this week, I've got a quote for everyone to hear for mental health, which is, "Make yourself a priority once in a while. It's not selfish; it's necessary."
Precisely.
And as such, other than that, I am just going to be advertising you to check out charitable organisations like Changes for Health and Wellbeing, Changes Recovery Radio, Mind, Messy for Mind, Donna Louise Hospice Care for Children and Young People, and of course Cancer Research UK. And that is all I'm going to be plugging for this week only. Not even going to be self-plugging at all for this. So with all that, we
Doesn't
will
really feel like the time. No, totally don't blame you with all that. Yeah, we'll be back next week.
We will be back next week with hopefully our regular scheduled programming, unless something massively major comes up. But until then, we hope you all stay well, stay safe, and until the next episode, we hope that you do, if necessary, give a call to a family member, to somebody you haven't spoken to in a while, as such, because that one phone call could actually prove massively helpful and vital. And until then, it could end up helping them in such an amazing way. But until then,
Absolutely.
stay safe. We'll catch you on next week's episode, which will be our possibly returning to scheduled programming. So we will catch you down.
Okay, until then, thanks for listening and goodbye.
Well, I was just about to say, I've been Matt Burns. That's been, my colleague's been John Ballore. Till then, catch you next week.
Ta-ra.